meditate on Sri Ramakrishna for peace and prosperity of the whole humanity. Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Ayate Namaha Asato ma sadgamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. In the last class, we talked about charity as a spiritual discipline and what Sri Ramakrishna had said about charity. And Sri Ramakrishna has said that one should do charity without any motive. So, if he does that for the love of God, and if he gives charity thinking that he was only the instrument, God alone is a doer and he is nothing. So if he gives charity with this attitude, then it is very noble. It makes the donor very humble, and the donor will have immense spiritual benefit, and he can march onwards in the spiritual path. Finally, he will realize the infinite bliss. So, one should cherish this attitude of doing service, rendering service, taking complete refuge in God. So, charity as a spiritual discipline, it helps us to go close to God. There's a word in Sanskrit called kripan, miserly. We have dealt with this word miserly in the last class. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the great Yajnavalkya Maharshi tells Gargi, one who departs from this world without knowing this Atman or Brahman is a kripan, means pitiable. Another great saint, Madhusudan Saraswati, explaining the phrase given by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, Kripanaha Phalahetavaha, Madhusudan Saraswati explains miserly people earn wealth with great pains. They devote most of the time in acquiring wealth just to satisfy their thirst only for some insignificant visible pleasure. Just for that. He has got a lot of money, he goes and buys big farmland. Just he uses up the money in order to enjoy. They are unable to experience the great happiness that comes from charity. So in their actions, in their ways of doing, they cheat themselves. Similarly, those who perform action with great pains out of desire for mere petty results, they become deprived of the experience of supreme bliss from realizing Atman or God. This is the state of affairs of those who are kripanas. So, there are three implications of the word kripan. It's a Sanskrit word. One is an intensely acquisitive and possessive person. He gets agitated even at the very thought of the possibility of losing any of his or her belongings. In fact, their very existence, identity as it were, seems to depend on them. Their possessions are everything for them. They are so much attached. They won't like to give any of them to anybody. They want to enjoy themselves. In fact, to give an example how Duryodhana was having that nature of possessing. He didn't want to give even an inch of land to the Pandavas who were to have legitimately. But he was so miserly, he would not part with even an inch of land. On the other hand, he was prepared to wage war. He became so much jealous of his cousins. He even made a plot to annihilate them. Anyway, that's one. Intensely acquisitive and possessive nature. Secondly, he is dominated by worldly expectations. He expects too much. That is, he becomes a shopkeeping person. He bargains. He becomes business-like. Well, I do this, I must get this back in return. So his act of giving is always linked with what he gets back for his pleasure. Thirdly, a person who is of this miserly nature, he is devoid of spiritual aspiration or any understanding of the spiritual aspect of one's personality. So he doesn't understand the spiritual significance of the human life. He just thinks he is here on this earth just to enjoy. Even by plundering the people, by doing any action that would satisfy his senses. Well, charity in a spiritual sense is a very powerful catalyst for transforming a miserly into a great spiritual person. We may be able to sense the true scope of dana, charity, from a low intensity giving away of small things in charity, giving away small things, to the spiritually mature Arjun, like inner stability to face death or withstand loss of possessions, friends and relatives, to the highest form of dana, charity, as tyaga, renunciation. So charity takes a spiritual meaning when you cultivate the virtue of renunciation. That means, what do I need? Everything belongs to God. Everything should go to Him. So, in that act of renunciation, you are satisfied with whatever things you have, not aspiring unnecessarily, things which are not useful, which are not needed. That is, as detachment towards one's own body, towards one's own self identity. That is psychosomatic, to affirm that which is spiritual. This is why dana, charity, is so essential for spiritual growth. So, together with repeating divine name, meditating on God, we must also practice regular charity, no matter how little in the beginning. It has got immense spiritual value. In the act of giving, you develop the love. There is a Sanskrit verse, Data laghurapi sevyo bhavati na kripanaha mahanapi samruddhaya kopo antas swadujalaha prityai lokasya na samudraha. The meaning is, a donor, even though poor and a giver of only small things, is worthy of worship. Not so miserly, even if he is greatly wealthy. A well with sweet drinking water serves to please people, not so the vast salty ocean. So, we should practice charity to become real spiritual seekers. We should gradually turn off self-love and material concerns into universal love and spiritual aspiration through charity. The scriptures reveal some details about this. The Vedas, the mine of spiritual ideas, starting from the birth of the being unto the death, and even beyond death, everything is well organized and methods are given how one should conduct oneself in order to fulfill, in order to make his life blessed. So the Vedas recognize the fact that human beings are constitutionally self-seekers, and they are driven by desires and mundane goals. It's very natural. So, what the Vedas say, it gives a good turn. You want money, health, longevity, beauty, power, safety, a good partner. You desire to have all this very well. And the Vedas say there is a yajna for fulfilling such and such a desire by adoring such and such a deity. For example, there was a couple who didn't have issues, so they approached a rishi, and the rishi said, you perform this yajna, you will get the child. And they would do, and they would get it. In fact, the great Ramayana, we hear the story of Rama, Lakshmana, Bharat, Shatrugna. They were born to Dashrath. He performed Putra Kameshti Yaga. He invited the proper priests to conduct it, and it was done according to Vedic injunctions, and he got the result. So, naturally, a human being, like cattle drawn by fresh grass, jumps at such offers and sets out to perform the rituals. In fact, the rituals are all oriented with results. If you do this ritual, you will get this particular result. But the noteworthy fact is that every ritual includes charity and austerity. In fact, the ritual gives a training to you to cultivate the virtue of charity and to become austere. Before and during the rituals, sometimes spread over several days, the performer has to observe all the rules meant to subdue his ego, and he will have to undergo some austerity, waking up and bathing early, having only one meal a day, avoiding stimulants and luxuries, sleeping on a mat spread on the floor. Various disciplines are prescribed in order to perform certain rituals. In fact, they should be followed very strictly, then only they will get the desired result. Not only that, the person who is doing ritual, he will have to give away several of his dear things in charity. Sometimes he will have to give gold, silver, cattle, etc. That's also prescribed by the Upanishads, prescribed by the scriptures. Everything is specified. So thus, the Vedic charity was a sugar-coated medicine, as it were, against the miserly mentality. A double-edged sword, so to say, which on the one hand promised to secure worldly gains, and under that pretext, on the other hand, finally sliced away human attachments to arouse dispassion and renunciation. In all the rituals, he is adoring God, he is worshipping. So he comes close to God, though in the beginning for the worldly desires, finally his mind gets turned towards God, and then he seeks God, forming an inseparable part of those attractive rituals, had an inherent power to strengthen faith in God as the fulfiller of wants, and to create a willingness to give away first material things and finally one's individuality. So, the Vedas reveal that true charity should have a religious basis. Secondly, it must involve some degree of genuine self-denial and self-control. A few coins casually thrown at a beggar from a bus or a car or a train do not constitute charity, nor does a pittance given away out of one's huge profits or resources deserve to be called charity or be expected to increase love for God. This answers why the prevailing customary charity, alms giving, etc., do not bring about any spiritual benefit to the millions of donors who are doing that kind of charity. And nowadays is by and large secular and, more importantly, devoid of humility. Exceptions apart, secular-minded charity in daily life turns, as experience shows, into a spiritual expedient, into a simple expedient to get rid of the irksome beggar at one's door. In order to get him out, not to ask him get out, they throw some money so the beggar can go. So there is no feeling of reverence to the person whom he is giving charity. So if he is giving that, if he is giving charity with the egoistic attitude, then he will not have any spiritual benefit. Many people do charities in order to get name and fame and position, power. See, many people, sometimes when the politicians come, they go in the forefront and they ask the organizers to announce their name. Such and such a person has given such amount, and he is giving such amount to the particular political party, and his picture, everything comes in the newspaper. Why he is doing that? Because he will get benefit later on. If a person gives donation to a politician, and that politician, when he becomes a minister, he will grant so many favors for the person who donated money to him. So anyway, it ends up like that. It has no spiritual benefit, and it is actually the charity, the quality of charity is abused in a way. So we have to understand charity has got a great spiritual value. As a spiritual discipline, it has been defined as arthanam patre shraddhaya pradidhanam. That is, giving material things to a deserving person with shraddha. It implies a firm faith in God and spiritual aspiration. Again, the scriptures to prevent any worldly calculation from polluting the purity of charity, it says, Vidyate sagarasyanto dhanasyanto na vidyate. It tells, ocean has boundaries, but charity has no limits. And to emphasize the crucial importance of humility, in rendering charity spiritually potent, the Shuddhi Tattva, another scripture says, that charity which is performed by going to the needy is incalculably beneficial. And another scripture says, charity should be done with bhakti, with devotion. That is, a giver must be self-effacing enough to go to the needy person and give with devotion, with the thought of God in one's mind, and with the idea that the receiver is God in disguise. So, this charity can be taken up as a spiritual practice. It will certainly give us immense results. As your mind gets purified, as you become more and more free from ego, pride, you will get the benefits of joy, satisfaction, peace, and an unmistakable spiritual stirring deep within. And then you love to give. In fact, there are many people who really do charities without their names being disclosed. If the attitude is spiritual, definitely it helps them. And one can see God through practicing charity as a discipline. And there's a famous story in our scriptures in India. There was a great king. Of course, he was the king of the demons. Somehow he got the leadership of the heavens. He began to rule. The devatas were defeated, and this demon became the king. His name is Bali Chakravarti. Of course, he was ruling the kingdom, but all the devatas were humiliated, and they were all very sad, because the heavens are the abode of gods, angels, devatas. So the Rakshasas, the demons, have got separate land for them to live upon. Anyway, then Lord Vishnu, the creator, incarnated himself as a brahmacharin. His name is Vaman. And he came to the court of King Bali in order to ask him, because the king had one noble quality: he would give charity to whomsoever. And he had so much of confidence in himself, and he would give so lovingly. And Lord Vishnu himself came to test this quality in this person. And then the story goes, and he, as a brahmachari, he goes and asks him to give him 3 feet measured land. Anyway, in that process he got the whole earth, whole planet and heavens. They were covered by 2 feet, and where to keep the 3rd foot, he was asking. And Bali Chakravarti was in a fix. Then immediately he said, well, don't hesitate, you put your feet on my head. My head is still there. It is not given to anybody. You put your head on me. Put your foot on my head. Like that the Bali Chakravarti said, and immediately the Lord placed his foot on the head of this Bali. He was highly blessed to be touched by the feet of Lord Vishnu, the Creator, the Sustainer of the universe. And he was totally purified and he was immersed in samadhi. He was in perpetual joy. All these things Bali Chakravarti could get on account of his noble quality of charity, and he would give away without any expectation. So he got the spiritual benefit. He could see God and he enjoyed all peace and bliss in the company of God. So, charity should be practiced as a spiritual discipline. Anyway, for anything to be practiced as a discipline, your aspiration should be to realize God. That's important. If you have worldly aspirations, then it will have negative effect. That concludes this topic, charity as a spiritual discipline. I am reading some passages from the Gospel, page 708. But the case of Ishvara Koti is different. He follows a process of negation and affirmation. First he negates the world, realizing that it is not Brahman, but then he affirms the same world, seeing it as the manifestation of Brahman. To give an illustration, a man wanting to climb to the roof first negates the stairs as not being the roof, but on reaching the roof he finds that the stairs are made of the same materials as the roof, brick, lime and brick dust. Then when he can either move up and down the stairs or remain on the roof as he pleases. And of course I have read this. The page 709, Narendra entered the room and saluted the master. They began to talk together. Presently the master came down from the couch and sat on the floor on which a mat had been spread. In the meantime, the room had been filled with people, both devotees and visitors. Master said to Narendra, "Are you well? I hear that you often visit Girish Ghosh at his house. Is it true?" Narendra answered, "Yes, sir. I go there now and then." Girish had been visiting Sri Ramakrishna for some months. The master said that none could fathom the depth of Girish's faith, and his longing for God was as intense as his faith was deep. At home, he was always absorbed in the thought of Sri Ramakrishna. Many of the master's devotees visited him. They talked only about Sri Ramakrishna. But Girish was a householder who had had varied experiences of worldly life. And the master knew that Narendra would renounce the world, that he would shun lust and gold both mentally and outwardly. Master said, "Do you visit Girish frequently? No matter how much one washes a cup that has contained a solution of garlic, still a trace of the smell will certainly linger. The youngsters who come here are pure souls, untouched by lust and gold. Men who have associated a long time with lust and gold smell of the garlic, as it were. They are like a mango picked by crows. Such a fruit cannot be offered to the deity in the temple, and you would hesitate to eat it yourself. Again, take the case of a new pot and another in which curd has been made. One is afraid to keep milk in the second pot for the milk very often turns sour. Household devotees like Girish form a class by themselves. They desire yoga and also bhoga. Their attitude is that of Ravan, who wanted to enjoy the maidens of heaven and at the same time realize Rama. They are like the asuras, the demons who enjoy various pleasures and also realize Narayan. Narendra said, but Girish has given up his old associates. Master said, yes, yes, he is like a bull castrated in old age. In Burdwan, I once saw an ox moving about the cows. I asked a bullock cart driver, what is this? An ox? How strange. He said to me, true sir, but it was castrated in old age, and so it has not altogether shaken off the old tendencies. In a certain place there sat some sannyasis. A young woman happened to pass by. All continued as before to meditate on God, except one of them who cast sidelong glances at her. Before becoming a monk, he had been the father of 3 children. If you make a solution of garlic in a cup, won't it be hard to remove the smell from it? Can a worthless tree like the babul produce mangoes? Of course, such a thing may become possible through the occult powers of a yogi, but can everyone acquire such powers? When have worldly people time to think of God? A man wanted to engage a Pandit who would explain the Bhagavad to him. His friend said, I know of an excellent Pandit, but there is one difficulty. He does a great deal of farming. He has 4 plows and 8 bullocks and is always busy with them. He has no leisure. Thereupon the man said, I don't care for a Pandit who has no leisure. I am not looking for a Bhagavad scholar burdened with plows and bullocks. I want a Pandit who can really expound the sacred book to me. Let us stop here. So, any questions? People do charities, undoubtedly, yeah. There is nothing wrong, but the point is, the worldly goals will not give you permanent satisfaction. The worldly pursuits will end up in some frustration, some kind of joy you will get, some pleasures, but you will not be able to solve the problem of suffering through the pursuit of worldly goals. So in order to solve the problem of human life, in order to enjoy peace and real happiness, one should have to take spiritual course. That's the only way. That's the only way. Yeah. Yeah. See, the point is, it's true, but Sri Ramakrishna had to work very hard to see how Girish is totally drawn towards him, and it was not an easy task. In fact, he personally cleansed him in a way. He remarked afterwards, do you know why I am suffering from this throat cancer? It is because I took all the sins of Girish Chandra Ghosh. So I had to suffer from this throat cancer. The reason is, he doesn't have to suffer, but generally they follow the law of nature. The law of nature, whatever the sins are there, they should be burnt. If A is not burning them, B should burn. Proxy. So, anyway, the vessel that is containing garlic will smell garlic. It means a person who is having tendencies towards this worldly things. So however much you may try to get rid of the worldly samskaras, still it lingers on. He just made a remark. That means you must take proper care to be alert. And sometimes you have to tolerate. Even if that smell comes, all right, because I'm using the garlic cup, so garlic smell is there. So you will develop a kind of detachment. And the point is, somehow you must try to connect yourself to God. The connection to God becomes difficult as long as the mind is tied with worldly samskaras. So the purification of samskaras is the spiritual practice. How you purify yourself, by what manner, by what methods. That's the yeah. It's no. That's one way. That's one way of explaining. It's one way of explaining. Unless you help a person, how does he know? So Sri Ramakrishna showed what is the meaning of longing. How one should long. He showed in his own life the intensity of longing. That means you must desire it intensely. That's the meaning of longing. Not half and half. You may or you may not. If you don't have that intensity, you won't. That longing will not give result. Intense longing. And all the spiritual, it is true, everything is in one way, everything is will the will of God. That's true. But that is a theory. But that you should realize through your experience. When do you realize? By doing spiritual practices. When you make spiritual advancement, then you will realize, then you will know, how God is gracious, how everything is God's will. I am only insignificant creature. I am just an instrument, a channel through which God's energy, God's manifestation works. Like that you feel that. In order to feel that, you must have to pass through certain disciplines and purification. That's all. So the whole thing is a game in a way. Spiritual. Sri Ramakrishna himself says, Leela Kshetra. The whole thing is Leela Kshetra. And everyone is suffering. It may be untrue from the Vedantic point of view. From the Vedantic point of view, it's all a dream. But you know it when you wake up, then only you will know, I was in dream. When you are alive, when you are active in dream, you are not aware that you are in dream. So our waking state here is like that. As long as we are ignorant of the true self, we are all in a state of dream, as it were. We are coming, going, etc. Where is coming and going for the Atman? So that's the point. So the soul, that is the embodied being, the mind, the consciousness associated with the mind is called the jiva. So it's the mind that makes the soul come back and forth. And mind is full of desires, full of things to be fulfilled. So it pushes the soul to take birth. That's one interpretation. Another interpretation is, though we are all having different mindsets, we are all connected inseparably to God. In fact, we are all moving, running towards God only. Undoubtedly. But some are running straight, some are running in a crooked way. But they are all running. Everybody is running, knowingly or unknowingly. The truth is that. But if you know it, you will enjoy the glory of God more. That's all. As long all that, be connected to God. That's what the scriptures say. Don't think that they are the end of the life. It's true, you earn the money and know the technique of using that money in a proper way. But how many people use it in that fashion? When the more money they get, the more egoistic they become. They boast themselves and they declare themselves, and they want to claim more status for because they have got so much wealth and they want to have some separate status for them. Anyway, the point is this: you may earn money, do everything. If you have the attitude of a duty, I have got duties and responsibilities. I have got duty towards my wife, towards my family, towards my children. Very good. You discharge your duties properly. At the same time, think of God. So thinking of God is the first priority. Think of God and then perform the duties. Then they are helpful. The performing duties will purify your heart. It makes you responsible also. Otherwise you will become irresponsible. You can do anything if you don't have the duties. But if you have the duties, you must do it. It's a must, it's a mandatory. But think of God and do it, everything will become, and you will be able to get a special power of strength to bear with all the sufferings. And you'll be able to pass through all experiences, difficult situations, joyfully. That's all. See, doing charity in your home is a first step. And of course, it helps you, undoubtedly. But doing charity to the people at large, that has got great spiritual significance. Say, for example, there's a national calamity in Gujarat. Suddenly the earthquake, thousands of people just vanished, disappeared. But when the world came to know about it, how all people, they rushed help, that is charity. To give some kind of relief to the people who are suffering intensely. That charity has got great spiritual value because you are trying to express your love towards your fellow beings. So it involves selfless love. Doing in your home, that is not considered selfless, though you are doing it because they are your family, so you are doing. But doing for the people whom you don't know, that is real service. In fact, I know many people who help the students in their education without disclosing their name. That's the right way of doing. So, what's the need of my disclosing my name? Because I've got some desire. My name should be known to people, and my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren should know about. Why should they know? Why should they have to know? If they have to learn, they will learn through their own samskaras. They will learn. You don't have to advertise. No, the point I am telling, you become more and more humble. That's the idea. To be free from ego. More humble you must become. That's the value of spirituality. Humbleness. How far you are humble. That is the measure, that is the test of your spirituality. If a person is egoistic, then it shows he is a little far away from realization of the truth. A person who has realized the truth is always very humble. Take Sri Ramakrishna, humblest of the humble. Yeah. You were asking something? Naren, he was born perfect. So Sri Ramakrishna didn't have any doubt about Naren at all, because even he tested him. Who is this Naren? He was one of the Saptarshis who came down to help Sri Ramakrishna's mission. So he very well knew that nobody in this earth can shake Narendra. He knew very well. And Swami Sri Ramakrishna himself tells, Narendra can go and eat anywhere. He can go and eat anywhere, anything. Nothing will happen to him. Because he is such a strong person. Strongest, we should say. So, he had not any doubt about Narendra at all. And he just asked him, and in a way, of course, in order to teach people, in order to teach others, he must have told that better to have association where a person can be safe instead of being associated with a person who is tainted, whose mind is tainted with impurities. So that's the idea. And anyway, he gives the example of that one of the monk was glancing when the women were passing, because he was the father of the children before becoming a monk, so that it was lingering in his mind, though he had become a monk. So that is the purpose of garlic smell, it is telling. So even though he has become a monk, still slightly he began to even to see why that idea came to him to see. Even he should not have done, is it not? No, he is trying to explain in different ways. And so that is the way, that's how I take it. Narendra was totally pure. He was purest of the pure, I should say, Narendranath. And Sri Ramakrishna knew it very well. Because he was very pure, he could see light every day before going to sleep. He asked also his friends, are you seeing light before? People said, no, we don't see anything. Then Sri Ramakrishna, when he met Sri Ramakrishna himself asked him, are you seeing the light every day? He was startled. What? How did you come to know? So Sri Ramakrishna knew everything about Vivekananda. Sri Ramakrishna would know everything about anybody, everybody who would come to him. But just seeing, he could read everybody's mind. But he is giving the lessons so that people can learn. And it is true, a specific teaching is given to a specific person, but you must know that all the people can be classified into broad groups. So under what classification we come, that's the point. So if the Sri Ramakrishna has said so many things in the gospel, instructions to advise, instructions to householders, instructions to sannyasins, instructions to novices, and so many are there. But you take, according to your temperament, what you need, you take that much and get benefited out. It's just like Sri Krishna telling in the Bhagavad Gita, he has given 4 yogas. But which yoga you want to practice, according to your capacity you take and practice it. That's all. Anything else? Kauravas, what did they do? What was the excess in their Kauravas? No, it's a boasting. It's a vanity. Yeah. But charity should not be compared to that. No. The point is, he proved he was prepared to sacrifice everything in order to honor that the quality of charity. He was prepared to give, that's why he offered his own head, because he was very much particular about fulfilling his own promise, what he had told, and it was a test for him. And because he proved the test, Lord himself blessed him. He placed his foot. It is very easy to get the touch of the Lord's feet, and he was extremely blessed. And by the touch of the foot of Lord Vishnu, he was ecstatic, and he lost all his asuric qualities. What is asura after all? Asura means everything excess in him. Everything excess, pleasure, excess, 100 times more than human beings. Everything is like excess, beyond limits. That's called asura. So, because he had that merit, he had some qualities, so he became the king of the heavens. Without merit, he would not have become the king of the heavens at all, in the first place. Because he was a demon, he had some demonic qualities. That's true. And moreover, it was not proper for him to stay on in the heavens, because the heavens is the place where the angels, the gods should live upon. It is reserved for them. It's just like in earth human beings are there. Like every planet has got certain things to stay on. So, and moreover, the devatas they prayed for, they lost their position, the place, etc. And so God himself incarnated to set right, to keep the things right, because he was as a sustainer of the universe. So Lord himself took the incarnated himself as Vaman. It's a big, very big book. Vaman Purana is there. Very big book. I think it's translated in English also. United Nations have translated it. Extremely good book. And he comes, and even the Guru, even the Bali Chakravarti's Guru tells him, warns him, don't do it. He is not a simply brahmachari. He is God himself coming in this form. So don't be hasty in giving away things like that. But he didn't care. He went to the extent of telling, even if I lose myself, it doesn't matter. When I say I give, I must give. He is adhering to the truth. That's the greatest quality. See, we talk of spiritual ideas. How do you know that you are well established in them? The tests will come. When the circumstances come, how you behave. Do you hold on to those ideas which you are cherishing, or you give way? If you hold on, then it gives a blessing, and you will turn out to be very good. In fact, God makes some episodes occur in order to glorify the devotee. In fact, the story of Purandar Das comes there. Purandar Das, a very great saint. He was extremely miserly. A big story, thrilling story. Finally, he totally was transformed because of the wife's quality, because of his wife's devotion to Lord Vishnu. So much so, the most miserly man became most charitable person. He took away everything from the shop, distributed to the people. Everything. He never kept anything to himself. And both of them, they went to the streets, mendicants, singing the glory of God and just spreading the teachings of God, spiritual ideas. All these poems are extremely good poems, spiritual contents are there. So, like that. Mm-hmm. No, it depends upon how you see. Sometimes they use. You see, you must take the meaning this way. Here Ati, because Bali went Ati, so he lost his kingdom. That's true. In a materialistic sense, he lost it. He was pushed to Patal Lok. That's the meaning there. You should not take the context of the other way, because he was blessed by God, etc. I am telling you. But these people they quote that in order to tell that point. If you do excess, you lose everything. That's the idea there. Yeah. No, if you're excessive, you lose things. That's the idea. Yeah. 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 Yeah, he came because that's to glorify Prahlada. Narasimha came because the Hiranyakashipu, he challenged him. You are talking about Vishnu, he is present everywhere, he is everywhere. Let me see whether he comes and protects you now. I will right now I will kill you. Like that he posed a challenge, and he jumped from the throne with a sword drawn in order to cut off his head. That was a crucial test. In that test also, he was unshaken in his love towards God, and he was repeating Narayan's name in order to save the child, in order to glorify Prahlada. Narasimha came. Like that. Everything has got its meaning in the play. Alright, we shall stop. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust, raging furiously within. O name, stream down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself, O self, drown deep in the waves of his bliss, tasting his nectar at every step, bathing in his name, that bath for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy, consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Ah, how I long for the day when an instant's separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied, for he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.